Oh shit, son, Osiris just got 2 new skins. Well, actually just 1 new skin plus a recolor, just like the last time he got a skin 4 years ago. Still, 2 new skins, time to make a video. Welcome to the Real Deal Smite God reveal, featuring Osiris, the broken god of the afterlife.
I could beat you with one arm tied behind my back, and the other missing entirely.
Okay, being serious for a sec, I would like to give special thanks to Zach Smith for requesting the video. Your suggestions help the channel grow. I appreciate it. Now, Osiris is one of those weird enigma gods in Smite where if I start talking about his kit, you'll think he's completely broken like his title suggests. Like, Osiris has 30% damage mitigation, high base damage, slows for days, an inbuilt fatalist effect with powerful auto attacks without items, and can completely negate all forms of healing for 6 seconds. Here's the weird part, he's never picked up and played by anybody, hence why he hasn't gotten a skin since he was released back in Season 1. So why isn't he played all that often? Well, let's take a look at his kit and find out. Osiris' passive is fragmented. Each time Osiris uses an ability, he burns away a fragment of his body, getting 2% physical and 1% magical damage mitigation for each missing fragment. After losing 8 fragments, he becomes his spirit form. He may walk through enemies and enemy blockers, and his basic attacks do not incur a movement penalty. This effect lasts for 6 successful basic attacks. Holy overloaded passives, am I right? Well, sort of. It's actually pretty well balanced since Osiris is one of the few warriors in Smite that deals most of his damage through auto attacks, so the spirit bonus won't last that long. But Sam, I hear you cry, doesn't that completely negate his passive? Well, yes and no. I'll teach you guys a little trick to help you get the best results with Osiris' passive. It's called paying attention to your HUD. There's no timer for Osiris going into or out of his spirit form, so you can use as many auto attacks before turning, or you can just use abilities if you need to be a spirit for a longer period than you initially thought. The Fatalist effect is a fantastic bonus, which didn't get reworked like with literally everyone else who got a Fatalist bonus, cause I guess nobody knew the bonus existed for Osiris, so no one bitched about it. As for the Phantom effect, it's good, but like with the active, it's too situational to make any real use out of it. Like, it only counters Odin, Thor, and a few Guardians. On the plus side, you can't body block Osiris. Ha! Take that, every fucking dickhole I play against, and a few teammates who don't know proper fountain etiquette. Osiris' one is Sickle Strike. Osiris throws his sickle forward. It stops at the first enemy hit, dealing 240 plus 40% of Osiris' physical damage and slowing them by 20% for 3 seconds. The sickle remains for the duration of the slow. There isn't much to talk about with this ability. The focus of this ability has less to do with the damage and more on the utility it provides. On top of being an excellent single target slow, it's also a good activator for Osiris' passive since it's on a 5-second cooldown, and it's also a steroid for Osiris' next ability. Osiris' 2 is Spirit Flail. Osiris imbues his flail with spiritual energy, striking at the target ground location. Enemies hit take 290 plus 75% of Osiris' physical damage, and Osiris gains 20% movement speed. If an enemy is under the effect of Sickle Strike, the target's slow is increased to 40% and lasts for another 3 seconds. This is Osiris' main damaging / lane clear-ish ability. There really isn't much else to say since it is so straightforward, but it chunks for quite a bit and slows like hell if you land his one first on an enemy. Plus the movement speed is nice to help juke an enemy skill shot. Yeah, that's about it. Next. Osiris' 3 is Judgment Tether. Osiris flings out mummy wraps, tethering himself to all nearby enemy gods. Targets hit deal 30% reduced damage over the next 4 seconds. The tether can be broken by targets moving far enough away from Osiris. Targets still in range when the duration expires are stunned for 1.4 seconds. What the fuck, that's a lot of reduced damage protections. In fact, Osiris' tether is one of the only defenses in Smite that counters true damage. Ha! Eat shit, Bakasura! Although he's been eating shit ever since Bologna was introduced. You think that Hi-Rez would mention that awesome bonus somewhere, but to be fair, Osiris is so underplayed, I don't think Hi-Rez is even aware of this. As a stun, it's actually pretty weak since most other gods have the stun take place immediately, but Osiris needs to keep the target next to him for 4 seconds, which is an insanely long time. That said, Osiris is the king of slows, so if you constantly hit the enemy with his 1-2 combo and pick up Frost Hammer, you should get his stun off pretty easily. If not, you also have his ult to help out with that. Speaking of which, Osiris' ult is Lord of the Afterlife. Osiris shreds any remaining fragments, gaining the benefits of his passive, and leaps forward. Osiris targets all enemy gods in the landing area and rips a fragment of their soul spirits out, dealing 620 plus 80% of Osiris' physical damage and preventing them from healing for 6 seconds. Targets are rooted for 0.4 seconds during the attack. Enemy minions in the target area also take damage. Osiris is CC immune while ulting. Fun fact, the description used to read 100% rather than all healing. Guess they changed it because people don't know how to do basic percent math. As is, this ult is pretty good. The damage it provides is pretty meh at best, but it makes up for it with its utility. On top of the anti-healing, it's also a good engage since you can leap over obstacles and it activates Osiris's passive. The only downside is that it is Osiris's only form of escape, so to use it that way, you'll be missing out on all that damage and utility, plus the escape for another 90 seconds. Now with all that said and done, why isn't Osiris picked up all that often? Well, when you take each of Osiris's abilities and judge them on their own, they're not too interesting or powerful. He only becomes powerful if you combine the strengths of his abilities and do so in a tactful or strategic way. Also, unlike most other warriors where they have that one ability that they're supposed to lead in with that chunks the enemy for half their health, Osiris doesn't really have that. Instead, his playstyle is to 1v1 box an opponent while keeping them locked next to him. Or to put it another way, instead of providing burst damage, Osiris is meant to deal continuous chip damage to a target. While that is a bit of a mental block playstyle to get over, once you do and get the general idea of Osiris's kit, you should be a real nuisance for the enemy's backline. That is how you do well with Osiris.